Hey, Fredo with CJ Off-Road. A few months ago we upgraded the twin turbos on our 2016 EcoBoost F-150, and now with the added power we need to keep the intake temperatures down, so today we're going to be installing this aFe BladeRunner Intercooler. This intercooler features a 3-inch bar and plate design with multi-directional vane technology that'll flow 20% better than the factory intercooler. It'll directly replace the factory intercooler and will work with factory or aftermarket piping. It's going to help to lower those intake temperatures to improve performance and keep it running safe, so today we're going to install it on our 2016 F-150. For this installation, you'll need a lift or a jack and jack stands, 7mm socket, 8mm socket, 13mm socket, 7/16 socket, 10mm socket, 6mm hex key, 3/8 ratchet, 1/4-inch ratchet, 13mm wrench, and a panel removal tool. So the installation of this intercooler is pretty straightforward, but because we have this ADD bumper on, we actually need to remove it to gain access to it. If you have the factory bumper, you don't need to do anything with your bumper, but in our case, this thing needs to come off. All right, now we have the bumper off. The first thing we're going to do is loosen up all the clamps that hold the pipe to the intercooler, and then we can drop down the plate to remove the intercooler. Now these are aftermarket pipes, so we're going to be using a 10mm socket to get these clamps off, but the factory pipes use a flathead screwdriver or a 7mm socket. Now we're going to remove both clamps. Now we're going to remove both couplers to the intercooler. Remove the retaining ring from the intercooler side. Then separate the cold pipe from the intercooler. Then if you have the factory blow-off valve, you disconnect the hose here, but in our case we have a TurboSmart blow-off valve, so we don't need to disconnect it. There's two 13mm bolts on each side right here and one right here. Remove these so you can drop the plate and remove the intercooler. And here's a side-by-side comparison of the factory intercooler and the aFe BladeRunner. As you can see, the aFe is an inch taller and it has fully TIG-welded end caps. Next we have to move the factory couplers over to the aFe intercooler. At this point, you can reinstall the factory blow-off valve or install an aftermarket one as well. These EcoBoosts actually have a condensation issue inside the intercooler. You'll get a lot of moisture and oil buildup, and one way aFe is going to combat that issue is by installing a breather filter on the driver's side of the intercooler and a plug on the passenger side. Because the intercooler is taller than the factory one, we need to space the top intercooler supports. We need to remove the 13mm bolt on each side and add the provided spacer. Install the provided spacer between the frame and the bracket, and install the provided bolts. Then tighten the bolts with a 6mm hex key. Then do the same thing on the other side. One more thing to do before putting the intercooler back in the truck is removing the rubber grommets and placing them on the aFe intercooler. Once the intercooler is up, reinstall the two bolts on the bottom of the bracket. Once the intercooler is in place, you can reinstall the hot pipes. With both pipes fully seated, we can tighten the clamps. Then reconnect the bypass hose. Then reconnect the cold side intercooler pipe. Install the retaining ring on the slots of the collar closest to the intercooler. All we have to do now is reinstall the bumper, which you probably won't have to do, so with that being said, our installation is finished. Our aFe BladeRunner intercooler is installed. It's definitely going to help to keep our intake temperatures a lot lower. Fitment was spot on, and installation wasn't too bad. It should take you about less than 2 hours, and before you know it, you'll be heading off-road.